Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode, we took on the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round of playoffs, and unfortunately, we lost yet again in the first round. And this team is just like they simulate really good during the regular season. It's just that when it comes to the playoffs, for some reason, we always have a problem. It's mostly due to the goaltending, I think, but I don't know what the case is because their offense starts to drop off a cliff as well in the postseason. So, yeah, we are going to be making some changes this offseason to our lineup to try and get this team to being better in terms of the playoff simulation as well. Now, we do have a few comments I'd like to go over before we actually get into the draft and the resign stage. So the first one is from WMR. He says, don't know if this is a good idea yet, but the Red Wings might need to rebuild a little bit. I think you guys have way too many forward assets and some of them aren't even doing their job. Trade away those guys who aren't performing as planned for picks. In the draft and free agency, it'd be a good idea to acquire some defensemen and goalies because of the goalie inconsistency and the fact that there's not enough D-men. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying here. There's a couple guys, one guy for sure I'm going to be trading away. Some of the guys might be just going to free agency. A guy that could be heading to free agency is Xavier Jenner because he could be replaced by some of the younger guys. And same with Perrin. I might let go of Petrovic. I don't know for sure if I will, because Petrovic has been a pretty solid fourth liner. Like, he doesn't play a lot on ice, but he's gotten like 30 points, and he's not that bad of a scorer for a fourth line type of role guy. But to make room for young guys, he might go. But he's probably not going to want like a whole lot this season, so we might bring him back. But guys like, say, Jenner and Perrin might walk this offseason. And then we also might make some big trades to kind of compensate for our team. Now, the other comment I'd like to go over is from HawksFan88. He says, I definitely think you should move on from Buckley and maybe even Guerin, considering you probably have some younger guys that are ready to play for next season, which I agree with as well. So Guerin's going to be the big one I'm going to be trading in this episode. The reason being is he's signed for 2 years at 7.25. Or actually technically 1 season at 7.25. I would like to get rid of him. The main reason is because he's been underperforming. And also, I would like to have more salary for DeKeyser when DeKeyser's contract ends, because he's a big guy that's probably going to want a lot more money than Guerin. So, yeah, that's basically one of the reasons. And then Buckley's definitely going to go, because Buckley's just not been that type of performer that I thought he was when I brought him in. As you can see, when he was with Buffalo, he had 58 points, but then he dropped down to 45 for us, and only 29 this past season with 6 goals, which is not characteristic of a sniper at all. So, yeah, Buckley's going to be just dropped to free agency more than likely. Now, I also mentioned to HawksFan88 that we are probably going to be letting go of Curtis, which is our goaltender. The reason being is because Curtis, he had an okay season, I would say. Not a great one. It could have been better because of the defense. I don't know. But in terms of the playoffs, he just did not play good enough. 4.45 goals against average, so he was pretty much playing like Rohan House did when we had Rohan House. And also the fact Isaiah Curtis wants like $8 million probably for 1 year, which is a lot of money to give to a guy that doesn't perform in the playoffs. Now, I was also mentioning what type of things we could potentially get for somebody like Guerin to HawksFan, and he says for Guerin, since you don't really have a lot of holes in your lineup, I think you should just try and get a solid prospect back for him, which I replied with, we could probably get a prospect in a pick back for Guerin because he's got a decent chunk of value. So we are going to be probably doing that at the deadline, or not at the deadline, at this draft. Now, a few other things I want to mention once we get to the resign stages, some of the salaries that we could hand out. So I actually will mention one of them right now. So Coley Minen, his contract is up this offseason. He's going to be a very expensive contract because I was looking, and he wants, like, if you go to 8 years, he wants over $14 million, which is not bad considering he was really good. But we probably will give him like a 6-year deal at like $10.5 million, which means players that have contracts until the year afterwards, like Svechnikov, he might be on his way out soon. Wall might be on his way out soon because there's a lot of guys that have their contracts up in the next 2 seasons. So it's going to be a lot of tough work in terms of our contract situation. But anyways, let's get into this draft and trade away Guerin, and then we will get into our resign stage, and then free agency will be next episode. But I don't know if we are going to really need to sign much free agents because we do have a lot of good guys in our system. Okay, so let's make our trade with Guerin. So I will do the trade finder, but I do have one I already wrote down just in case there's not really anything that's good that's offered to me. because there was a defensive prospect in Anaheim that seemed intriguing that we could bring in, because that's one of the things we really need in terms of our AHL. So Guerin, as you can see, has some decent value. He's 84 at 28. He's got the 1 year left after this year, technically, so 1 year left. And yeah, let's see what we could get for Guerin in terms of this. There's only 2 offers from Washington, and both of them I don't want to take, so we aren't going to do the trade finder. So we're just going to have to go propose trade to Anaheim, which we should be able to get this deal done, I think. So they do want Guerin still, which is good. And then we're going to be taking back, since they have this guy on the trading block, is this defenseman, Jamison Ramjasingh. As you can see, he's a 73 medium top 4, and he's only 20. He does have some really weird attributes, though. That's the only thing that's a little bit concerning, like his 68 offensive awareness. But he's got 90 defensive awareness, so he's kind of a really weird overall player. Like, he's got 87 deking, and it's kind of weird, but we'll just take him anyways, since he's got top 4 potential. And as you can see, there's still some value in our favor, so we are going to try and get back a 2nd round pick for next year. It might be really tough to do, but we'll see if we can. Maybe we can add a pick on our side to get this to go through, but we'll see if we can get a 2nd as well. And it looks more in their favor now, but who knows, maybe they'll accept it. So Guerin for Ramjasingh and a 2nd round pick. That is rejected. It is a bit low, it says, so we actually are pretty close, which means we are going to throw in a 7th round pick from the Columbus Blue Jackets just to see if that will go through. Will this work? And this needs to be sweetened just a touch. So I guess we'll throw in a 6th rounder, which is okay with me because we do have 2 5th rounders. So Guerin and a 6 for Ramjasingh and a 2nd, which means Guerin's going to go head to Anaheim and play with Rohan House, which is kind of cool. But best of luck, Guerin. You were a great player for us, and we wish you nothing but the best. Oh, that really sucks, because I hate trading away like guys that I draft that are EA generated. I feel really connected to them for some reason, so that was a really tough trade to make, but it makes sense for our team to do. So good luck, Guerin, in Anaheim. And that's the only trade we're going to probably make in this episode. Okay, so let's see, where are we drafting again? 20th overall, what a surprise. I don't even know what we really want to look at in terms of the draft. I just gotta wait until the Rangers make their pick before we look at this draft class, because they're also probably bump me out of the screen. And Rangers are gonna take Hamilton, who's a sniper. Nice pick for them. But who are we gonna get at number 20? I didn't even really look at this draft class that well, I don't think. Robichaud. This Nabokov guy actually might be really good, but we're probably not gonna get him. We need more defensive prospects than anything, so I might go with Nasir Hawes, since the scout recommends it. Or we could go with a goaltender, and this guy looks pretty decent, in Maximus Stevenson. Yeah, we might go with the goalie, or we could go with a defenseman, because those are 2 like prospects type of things that we could use. So yeah, I think I might go with one of them. Let me actually take a look at the draft board. What picks do we got this year? So we got 1 first, we got 1 second, 1 third, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, and 2 sevenths. Okay, let's sim to the 2nd pick, just see what these guys are. So Rayom goes to Toronto. Edmonton's going to take Lundberg. Olofsson goes to Boston. Ottawa at number 5 is going to take Lapierre. And let's sim to our pick now. So are we going to take the right-handed not right-handed defenseman. He's a right defenseman, but he shoots left. I think we'll go for the defenseman almost, because first round goalies, like this guy could be an elite goaltender. But if he actually, I don't know, elite goalies, there might be something we need, but it seems like elite goalies do not simulate well in the playoffs. So this guy might be a good goaltender in the regular season, but he might be really crap in the playoffs. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Is there a good defenseman to go in the 2nd round, or no? Probably not. There's this guy I pinned, but I don't think I have it picked that early. Now there is some decent defenseman, looks like. I think I'm going to try and take the goaltender now, actually, just because I feel like we do need some goaltenders in our system. We do have some younger guys in the AHL still, but I think this is something we need. So welcome to the team, Maximus Stevenson, which is kind of a cool name. And he's a medium elite 60 overall hybrid goaltender, so maybe the goaltender of the future here. Hopefully this guy ends up being really good. He had a pretty good first season in Peterborough, so we'll see how he develops. Maybe he'll be a better goaltender than Rohan House in the playoffs. You never know. Let's send to our next pick in the second round. See if there's a good defenseman available, which I do not know if this Cadman Harden guy is that good or not. I still might take him because he might be the best option for us. Because we don't really need forward prospects as much. This guy looks decent, but he's a winger. Right defenseman. This guy looks really good. Okay, yeah, we're going to go with Mika Pitkinen. Because this guy looks like he could be a very good defender. Yeah, so welcome to the team at Mika Pitkinen. And he's a low top 4 only. Which is not really what I was expecting. But a 62 overall is pretty good. And since he's a low top 4 in the second round, this guy actually might be a medium top 4 or a top 6 defenseman at some point. He looks very physical for a defender too. Okay, let's move to our next pick. Add some more defensemen to our system just because we need those. So we might go with Renberg here. Even though he doesn't look great, but the ETA says potentially 2 years. There's also Gabo. This guy is a defenseman. He had more goals than assists. It's weird. Haven't seen that often. How about Jacob Gordon? What about Petri Kuka or Petri? He looks okay. I think I'm going to take a shot at, was it Renberg? That was like 2 years away. Yeah, I think I'm going to take a shot at Renberg. He's 19, so he might get signed to an ELC right away almost, but we just need defensemen in general, so welcome to the team, Renberg. He's a medium top 60, 65 overall, so that's not too bad. I have seen top 60s that good go in the first round before, so I'll take it. We might auto-sim soon the rest of the draft unless there's some steals that we could find. But this draft class looks like it's dropping off a lot. Ooh, this guy actually has some good attributes for a low top 60. That's 5 years away. Huh. Yeah, I'll take Kenny Ray. Why not? Sounds like a cool name. 57 overall, we'll take that, I guess. Eventually, some of these defensive prospects will start panning out, so I'm just hoping some of these guys help our future a lot. Like, this McCutcheon guy has... Oh, he might have offensive consistency as a weakness and defensive consistency, which is not great. I might auto-sim the rest of this draft. Let me just take a look at potential just in case we're missing any low elites. Because I think I'm going to auto-sim the rest of this, to be honest. Yeah, I think I'm going to auto-sim. Yeah, we're going to auto-sim the rest of this draft. It does not look good. Hopefully the computer can just find us like those random steals. So after our pick, it looks like the computer got us Holmstrom, which is kind of cool. We could say it's the son of Thomas Holmstrom. Also McClellan, or McLennan, not McClellan. And Rissmiller, Linglet, and Sutter. Okay. So now comes the Resign Stage. This is going to be a very important Resign Stage for this club. We do have a lot of guys that are up for renewal this year. And then also next year there's a lot up for renewal. So let's go to all expiring. So the big one is UC Koleiminen. Coming off a very good season, over point per game in his second year. He's going to get a big extension. Okay, his asking price actually went down between the draft and now, which is good. I might give him an 8-year deal, which you guys might think is a little nuts, but Koleiminen is legit. So, yeah, I think I'll give him an 8-year deal. I'm going to see if I could get this at 85%, which means I need to do a little bit of math quickly. So he wants 12,125,000. Also, sorry if you could hear my, you could probably hear my keyboard in the background, but I'm trying to figure out how much to offer him. So if we do this at 80%, I think we could offer him 9.7, which would be a very good contract, I think, for somebody like Koleiminen. So we are going to try and get him down to 9.7 because I think he's worth it. That means guys like Svechnikov, though, might be on their way out next offseason, which I think you guys would be fine with as well. So we'll sign him. Stewart's definitely going to come back, but I'll see if I can just offer him what he wants. A little bit less than that. There we go. We're definitely going to let go of Buckley, so best of luck in free agents to Buckley. We're going to give Tucker... Yeah, just give him a 2-year deal. Why not? 1.1. And then let's go to the bottom of this list first. Who do we gotta let go of? We gotta let go of Grollo. Rutu's not gonna pan out. Wall's not gonna pan out. Actually, Wall was the first rounder, wasn't he? No, he's a 5th rounder. I could sign Wall. Yeah, might as well, just since we need defensemen in the system. But the thing is, we don't have a lot of contract space, so I gotta get rid of some roster players. Alexandrov needs to get signed. We will let go of Reimer. We'll let go of this. We need to sign Acker as well. Goddamn, there's a lot of guys I need to probably let go of. Oh, man. We're going to let go of some of our veterans like Andronov down there. We're going to let go of Sarich, because we have to make some of those roster spots up. Let me just actually go to the UFA thing so I can make this a lot easier on myself. I might have to let go of Kosh, but I'm going to see if I could get him back. I also would like to keep Laddie around. Klubertons I'm going to let go of, which might be a little bit weird. But we're going to let him go for now, because he's just probably going to be like an extra forward at best. Yakupov, which was our depth defenseman, might come back. But let me just see, RFA-wise, we're going to just qualify all these guys. Most of them should accept. Ouellette's not going to want a whole lot. But yeah, we need to make sure we have enough contract space. We have a lot of RFAs, but some of them are going to be UFAs probably next year. There we go. And then, let's see, UFA-wise. Yeah, I think Xavier Jenner's times here is done. Unfortunately, he was a pretty solid penalty killer and stuff for us. He had some pretty good points. His plus-minus hasn't been great. He takes a lot of penalties, which is the only problem. But in the playoffs the last 2 years, he was actually pretty good for us. He had 8 points in the last 13 playoff games. But he's going to go to free agency just because we need to make some room for the young guys. Fitzpatrick is as well going to hit to free agency, I think, unless he wants like a two-way deal or something, which he does. We might get him back as a depth guy, just in case. Yakupov is also going to be depth. He also actually wants a two-way deal, which is not too bad. And then it comes down to Petrovic and Perrin. I am going to let go of Curtis for sure because he's too expensive. I am going to let go of Lorentz, and I'm going to keep Mui because Mui's a good AHL goalie. But let's just make sure Mui accepts first. So yeah, we'll sign Mui for the AHL. And I'll also sign this Allen guy for the AHL. And we'll wait on that. But I am going to get Nguyen back because he's relatively cheap. See if I can get him to 1.9. And that should be good. Let's advance a day to see if we get all those guys, which we probably should. So Coley Minen rejected, so we're going to try and get him back up to 8 years again. I'll give him 11.2. That's fine with me. I don't even really care. So we'll be down to $18 million once we get Coley Minen. Kosh is rejecting, which kind of sucks, but I could try and give him like 9.25. Yakupov is rejecting. We'll give him a one-way deal at 1 mil. See if he'll accept that. I think I want to keep Perrin around maybe as a depth option just in case because he's really good at face-offs. And then Petrovic I will try and get back as well just in case. And then Nguyen's still rejected. We will try and get him for 2 years. I'll give him even like 2.5. And then, yeah, we're going to let go of Lorentz because Mui already accepted, which is nice. Get all those guys, which we probably should. There you go. All the UFAs are good. And RFA's Coley Minen is still trying to hold out. Come on, Coley Minen. I'll give you, actually 8 years might be a bit risk. I'll give you the 6 years that you want. At 11.7, you better accept, man. Because you are our future, probably. And he accepted. Okay, perfect. So, all these guys are probably going to want two-way deals. Yeah, Ouellette barely wants anything. So, we are good in terms of the contracts. Let's see what we have in terms of our roster now that we made a bit of roster moves. So we got 1, 2 centers, 3 and 4. We could play Pau as a third liner, which might be a bit lower of an overall than we've had in the past for a third line center, but maybe it's what we need. So we got 4 roster players there, 5, 6, 7, 8 roster players, and then a depth guy 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we might be pretty good in terms of forwards. We might need one more depth forward. I might use Fitzpatrick as depth and then play Ouellet, which means we would still need one more depth guy, which we could probably use a center in terms of that. So I'm going to write down a depth center just in case. And then defensively, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. More than likely, Lacerte is going to play on the top 6 this year because Savonin was actually complaining about his ice time a bit. But we're pretty much good on in terms of defensemen. And then goaltending-wise, we could use a backup goalie, or we could try running Mui this year and then letting the 2 fringe starters play in the AHL, which might not be a bad option. Let's me go to the unsigned guys, just in case anybody I want to sign yet, which I don't think so, but we do got a lot of good defensive prospects now in our system, which is nice. Okay, let's advance to free agency. Take a look at what's available, and then that'll be it for this episode. All those RFAs are accepting, which is nice to see. Okay, so what do we got in terms of free agents? Not that we really need anything, but we could always go for another goaltender if you guys think it's necessary. But let's sort by centers first. Not that we really need a center, but we could use a depth one at best. Or we could use a third line center if we don't want to play Powell yet, but I think I want to play Powell. There is some options out there that are young, that are fourth liners, like this Jeffrey Halschuk guy. Doesn't really fit our team though. But if you guys see anybody that you want me to bring in, let me know. Because whatever makes this team win would be nice. Like this Medvedov guy, even. This guy's got really good defensive awareness for a playmaker. Huh, that might be a good depth option to bring in. You know, he's listed as a fourth liner. Like, he's not played really much in the NHL. Like, he only played 29 NHL games, and that was, like, one of his first seasons, it looks like. He was a minus 20, which is not good. But that Calgary team might have been pretty bad. Or he actually might be a defensive liability, who knows. But still, that guy might be intriguing to bring in just for the defensive play. Let's take a look at wingers to see what's available. Not that we really need anything. This medium elite guy, Ozelinch, is a free agent. That'd be a nice pickup, but he's expensive as heck. And he doesn't fit our roster that well. I'll just scroll through this a bit. If you guys see anything you want me to bring in. Like, I don't think this team really needs a whole lot. We could just use maybe like the backup goaltender option, or we could just try and run Mui. Because who knows, maybe Mui is the playoff goaltender we need. Hey, look who it is. It's Harvey Jenner, our former player, who was in Winnipeg last year. Interesting. And then defensively, there's all these guys in case we wanted to pick up another depth defenseman or some depth defenseman for the AHL, because I know that's something WMRA mentioned. But we have how much contracts? We only have 4 contracts available, and we have 15 million cap space, which is not too bad. So there you go. And then goaltending wise, if we wanted to bring in a new backup goaltender or a new goalie in general, there's guys like Hugh Way available that might be okay. But I don't even know how any of these guys are going to assimilate really in the playoffs. Like, we have to look at these guys' playoff numbers to know if they're actually a good player or not. Because if they don't assimilate good in the playoffs, I don't want them really. Like, Ilya Samsonov looks like he had a good playoff year this past season. Or this past season. But he still might not be that great of a playoff goaltender. Who knows? Is this guy an RFA? Yeah, this guy's an RFA. But still, we want to find somebody that's good in the playoffs if we want to bring in another goaltender. Or we could just run Mui, like I said. And he'll probably assimilate well because this team is pretty much a defensive dynamo. So there's that. Let's take a look actually if there's any low elites and stuff, just because maybe we could sign some again. Girardi does not look good. 21, 60. This guy was undrafted last year. No, he was drafted. Okay, I thought that guy was undrafted player before. Low elite 52. That's a sniper. Has okay shooting, but probably won't be anything huge. But if you guys want me to sign any of these low elites just so we can get more stuff into our system, let me know. And there was this defenseman. We could always just sign this defender. because why not? But I don't know. And that's that. And that is that. Okay, let's take a look at what is available in terms of trading block. Or the trading block. I don't know why I'm saying trading block. But just in case you guys want me to make any trades in WoW, Anaheim right away put Garon on the block. Are you kidding me? You guys wanted him and now you want to trade him away. Well, if Garon gets traded this offseason away from Anaheim, he never played with them, but they just gave us a free prospect in the second round pick, which is weird. Interesting. What else is out there? Anything else that could potentially help us out? Definitely a lot of veterans out here and some prospects, but I don't think we're really going to need to trade for prospects because that's where we're strong in the most part. Like a lot of our top 6 forward prospects and stuff don't seem to be panning out, which is kind of a bit concerning, but who knows, maybe they'll get some good growth. 23-year-old goaltender that's not making that much in a medium elite potential. It's kind of interesting. This guy had a really good first 2 NHL games, and for some reason they have him on the block. I don't know if it's due to salary cap or what, but that guy might be a very cheap option to bring in. The thing is the trade value. We could always give up a prospect to get him, and then this guy could be your other goaltender, but I don't know if this guy's going to be really that great or what. Because has he ever played an NHL playoff game, for example? No, he never has. His AHL playoff numbers aren't great either, so he might be a bad playoff goaltender, which might make it risky to an extent. Kind of surprised that that guy's on the block, to be honest. Looks mostly just like picks here. Couple other veterans, that goalie that we always saw in the trade deadline. Couple depth defensemen, pretty much. Some more prospects, more defensemen, which we don't really need. There's also another elite goaltender that's got like no value. This guy could be a starting goalie for us next season if we wanted to trade for him, but the thing is he's probably bad in the playoffs, right? Yeah, he's bad in the playoffs. Oh, I don't know why good overall goalies simulate so bad. It just does not make sense. Because that's literally what our problem is the last few seasons, I think. Because this team is literally, was stacked the last few seasons, but we just have not found that winning formula in the postseason. Like, once we find that good goaltender, I think we will actually be set. But who knows after we made all those off-season trades now and stuff like that. And let go of a lot of players. Couple more picks again. Yeah, it's not really a whole lot on there on the block, but if you guys saw anything you want me to try and get, let me know. And let's take a quick look at our progress reports, even though we already saw those at the end of the last episode, just because we want to kind of see how some of the guys are developing. So if we are to play somebody like Pau this season, he's got some pretty good attributes. It looks like his offensive stats have been getting better. His defensive stats have also been improving. Like, his shot blocking and stick checking are actually pretty good, so he might be a good serviceable fourth liner. So that might be intriguing. Hopefully Tucker gets better in terms of his defensive play, because during the regular season he was okay, but he was a -7 in 5 games during the playoffs, so I'm hoping he's better this playoff run. Because we are going to probably make the playoffs again. And then in the system, there's all of our development as well. I'm excited to see what Alexandrov could bring to the AHL team this year. And same with, what's his name? Acker, even though Acker might not pan out. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this episode of our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to free agency as we look to maybe add a couple pieces like a depth centerman and maybe a new goalie if you guys think it's necessary. So anyways, let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.